honorable panel members and distinguished gathering. At the outset, I'd like to express my regret for arriving late. First, it must have caused some anxiety to the realization team. And the second, that I missed an opportunity to listen to the some of the stars of the Indian corporate world. However, I am happy that I am here to share my experience with realization with you. I will briefly go about the history of Nakoda, share our ambitious growth plans and our experiences with the realization. So it can be seen that contents will be about Nakoda, our project background, and what realization did with us, the key changes brought after arrival of realization, results and growth plans. So this is a brief history about major milestones of Nakoda, and what we will be talking about this brownfield project, which is under implementation and where realization has come after 3 months of we started implementation. And that will be our next is a very ambitious project of 1,750 crores, which we hope will do with them. You can see that from 1984 to 2005, Nakoda was growing at a moderate pace, but after 2005, it's under the exponential growth. And I'll say that in 2011, Economic Times analyzed 2,000 listed companies, and they found Nakoda among 13 companies out of 2,000 listed companies who have achieved consecutive growth, continuous growth of more than 15% over the last 5 years. So the project which I am going to share my experience with you with realization is this project where we are expanding, it's a brownfield, we are expanding POY capacity from 30,000 to 70,000 tons by adding 5 lines, POY lines. In POY the capacity is with the number of lines. When before we met realization, we were already 3 months into our execution, and we also, since 26 years in the industry, we have a project team, we have executed several projects before, we have experienced people. They all were best poised to complete the project as per the industry standards. Now, normal or industry standard is to complete this size of project in 14 to 15 months. And likewise, we had also set the target of 13 months. We started from March, and our target was to complete by March 13. But during various review meetings and our past experience of the normal delays in the projects, we thought that we will be able to complete by May 2013. Then the realization came into the picture. They told us before that the delays were because of these 4 counts. This I will show you. The civil work was delayed due to major manpower shortage. Design were not getting completed as binding data is not available. All major orders were pending and there is no clarity of when they are required. Monsoons were around the corner, more stoppage. These I have read because I wanted to tell them in serial. But let me tell you that the majority of our experience is that our all delays have happened because of the delay in civil work. And civil work, there is always a tussle between our execution team and the civil contractor. That we always say that 130 people are required, these many carpenters, these many masons, these are all required. And they say that no, 90 people are required. So that tussle goes on. We always insist that you bring the required manpower. They always say the sufficient manpower is available. So when these kind of things happen and we know that in spite of our telling all these things, they will never bring additional manpower. So what realization did the change? I'll come later on. That they said that you focus whatever is manpower is available on a particular critical item. And that I'll come later. So after 3 months we met them in the May, and what they offered and what we liked was that they had the methodology to minimize multitasking and get my project back on track by the end of January. Now, industry standard was March 13. We were anticipating May 13, and they told us after studying for 15 days, they did not reply. And they told me, I was highly impressed, they told me that they will not take up the assignment if they are not convinced to complete the project earlier than what we are anticipating. So they said we can complete it by January 13. I did not believe. But then they gave a lot of our deliberation, they stayed there, people stayed in our project site for some days, they stayed. Then they told us that they had the methodology to minimize multitasking and get my project back on track by end of January. They had the management expertise and capacity to run the implementation for us, being on site throughout the project duration. They were as committed to the due date as I was. A significant part of, now coming the paying the fees. That is the most, because you know, size of our company and normally Indian entrepreneurs don't believe to pay unless they get something physical in their hand. For services, we have no value much in India. As far as at least Surat entrepreneurs are concerned, I am telling you. So I said, what about the fees? Then we arrived at, they quoted certain amount. And then they gave me one incentive. They told me that major part of our fees we will take if we complete before January. Then I asked them the counter question, then what about what you are already going to take? See, suppose 100 rupees, then say we will take 50 rupees after on completion. But I said, what about the first 50 what you are already take? We'll take and we will not complete. Then they said that 50% risk we are taking, 50% risk you have to take. Because they also do organization to sustain. I agree. Now, what did they do after joining? They did a lot of study before joining, but after joining, they were as committed as what we were committed. Even the 3 things which they told us about their expertise, I said every consultant tells that he has this expertise, and we have, I tell you, we are a 26 years project execution experience team. We have already Mott McDonald, a very renowned consultant, as our PMC. So it is not, nothing was lacking. I said, what will you add to it? And that's what I am telling, what they added. Before also some speakers have said that the traditional way of project execution and what they did something different is the major focal point. So they said they gave simple execution plans, then onboarding. Now onboarding, Mr. Jain prior to me told so many things about onboarding. I'll also tell you something. Always knowing where to act and identify areas to we will go into detail one by one. But prior to this, I would like to share one more experience which is not there in any of the slides, which has just come to my mind. It is that when you are a 26-year-old organization, your team has you have a company with very low attrition. We have a Nakoda, we are very fortunate to have almost zero attrition. Almost all employees are as senior as I am in Nakoda. So those people who have done smaller, bigger, whatever projects, now if somebody comes, our management sends some two young guys and they start probing and asking very awkward questions, then what the team, I'm trying to do resistance to change. Anywhere there will be a resistance to change. So I faced very first, after within 15 days, I was anticipating also, and the same thing came. That our people started feeling that these are the spies which have been sent, who are just finding the faults and reporting to the top management. Then they thought that our 25-year service has gone into the drain. Some two young guys are evaluating us. I am a 25-year-old engineer, executed 4 projects, and this new chap, and management is believing him. So very difficult. Then on the contrary, it may disincentivize. The people will start working where the project will not be completed in May, but it will be completed in next May. So I really appreciate all, apart from all other things, the way they tackled, and prior to taking up the job, they said that this will happen. I said, I also agreed, it will happen. And we deliberated a lot how to tackle that and how to take such old guys, such experienced people into the mainstream. It is not that easy, what I am telling. It's not easy, but it happened. Then now our people are so much geared up that in last one of the meeting I was telling that my aim is that my organization should feel that in next project realization is not required. If that assurance my team gives me, then that is the achieved. Some achievement has happened. Two things. It will save their fees also. So anyway, now we go to this key changes. I think all other, I think prior to me, all people have talked about all these 4 things only. Because I tell you, realizations, whether they take up steel project or road projects with government or a textile project, their methodology is same. These all 4 things which has been there. So everyone has talked about it. I'll just tell that how it has helped us. So this simple execution process is just in few words I'll tell that they never gave a plan with 2000 tasks and 100 dates. They just I'll share my experience as a CMD's level, not at a project team level. So, and another thing I'll say about them, that they are the most pitiable people. Why? Because they are considered all responsibilities of an auditor. Normally, auditor is highly respected in the organization by the working people, but they are the auditors with all responsibilities of an auditor and with no authority of an auditor. So simplicity, and another thing is that the commitment has to come from the top. But that is a universal thing. I said, what you will tell newer? Do you think the top is not committed? When you say that commitment has to come from the top feels that they are the most committed people. Who at the top doesn't feel that he is not committed, even if he is not committed? But in reality, the thing is that the top should get the space what they give. Otherwise, in all earlier my projects, reviews were taking place, projects have happened also, but every time the delay was a normal practice. And in analyzing, we are spending our most of the time, 3/4 of the time of a meeting in analyzing the why delay happened. And after that, discussing how in future it will not happen. My team has done no firefighting, and we are going to complete the project before 2 months. Then the industry standard. I think 90% of the people must be believing that without firefighting, how the project can be completed. But it's not required. Then second is that on-board new partnering, that I think a lot of things has been told, that just don't, what happens that your vendors or your suppliers send you the emails, you just either accept it or make some modifications, and then the dates are whatever is decided. But here the difference is that these people, so I tell you, not my own people, even my vendors, my contractors, all initially first time resistance to change. They all go, what these people are asking us? Patel Airtime, I'll just name the biggest AHU suppliers. Now if these two young guys ask them, how will you complete this in 45 days? In contract he has written in 45 days it will be completed. If somebody asks how you will complete in 45 days, he will feel offended. He said, you are questioning the biggest supplier. But no, these people persistently, and they were never satisfied unless that question is answered. So with all vendors for taking how this timeline will be met, what are the and then two things they were telling, that what are the requirements from the vendor side to meet the timelines, and at the same time they were telling us that what are the requirements from our side. And to our surprise, when we identified that the AHU will be delayed, and when we visited and talked with them, we really came to know that the supplier needs a subcontractor at our site, and we provided it. So, taking on board the vendors excellently they are doing, and that is really a great thing. And the third is always knowing where to act. The tragedy is that those who conduct the review meetings themselves don't know where to act. That really it's a tragedy. because they are the who takes the review, who is at the helm of the affairs. Now, बिल्ली के गले में घंट कौन बांधेगा? वो गलत है तो भी उनको कौन बोलेगा तुम गलत हो? If as a chairman, if I tell something, but these people, they had told that yes, this should not be done, and I accepted. And as our earlier friend Mr. Jain was telling, that every 2 weeks, compulsorily a review meeting I have to go, I have to attend. So initially 1-2 times I attended in Surat from Mumbai, and then now we are doing on video conferencing, but it is a compulsory. And I tell you, during all these 2 meetings, let me give an appreciation that I have not been confronted with 1 or 2 tasks to be done and 1 or 2 problems to be attended, which earlier it could have been hundreds. And the last is this. Now, after you know where to act, then after that, within that, you should know where to bottleneck also. And in our case, the civil was, I tell you, the real bottleneck, and we did it by the, let us say, instead of 110, 80 people only contractor has mobilized, and he is not going to mobilize anything. Then with my intervention, they said that you will have to now send a dictate that all the workers will attend to the slab only, because slab was the most critical. Otherwise what happens, that contractor, when 80 people come, 40 is put, 50 to the slab, and the rest to the masonry work, this work, that work. But they identified, this is a very simple thing, very small thing, but it made great difference. We could complete the slabs on time. So debottlenecking is very important. So net result is that even realization promised us completion by 31st January, and we are 7 days ahead of that also. We are going to complete by 23rd of January, where March and May were there. So great. I would say simply great. The different, just a different approach. With this, we hope that we will get associated in our next venture also. And as Mr. Jain said, either realization or anybody else. So I was immediately to ask him a question: have you found out a competitor to realization? If any one of you find out, please let me know. So thanks for giving this opportunity. Thank you.